righty. Let's see. All right, we're back, but first, sponsors. I'm a little tangled here. Sorry, guys. Let me work out some details. I want to thank a few of the sponsors now. Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, Enforce Weapon Lights, Full Quartzen Firearms, Right On Optics. Head over to Kenzie's Optics too, guys, if you haven't. Go make your purchases there. Pulsar. Thermal imaging technologies coming down in price. Go check out Pulsar. Love those guys. Advanced Warrior Solutions bags. Guys, they support the show. Go check those guys out. Advanced Warrior Solutions. Nice guys. I want to thank Breakthrough Clean, too. Friends of the program. And I know I mentioned Enforce. You guys have probably seen Claudia Gadeja running around with the Enforce hat on. A lot of good brands. Appreciate them. Yeah, Ryan, happy birthday. Happy birthday to RK Outpost, Ryan Kinnell. Big deal. 1 year older. I like that. Happy birthday, buddy. I mean it. I got a special guest today I'm excited to have on. We're going to get into Kyle Rittenhouse. We're going to get into a lot of different things that I want to talk about. He's a good friend of mine, multiple-time show guest. Not many people get that award, but he's got it. He's in the bathroom right now. He's probably doing number 2. Who knows? I'm excited to have him. Yeah, Ryan, happy birthday. It's a big deal. Ryan Kinnell from RK Outpost, good friend of the show. Super dry. It's been dry here lately. It's been super dry. Yeah, we are going to get into the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, so I want to pre-prepare you. Guys, ways to help out the show. Please go like and subscribe. Obviously, that goes without saying. Please support the show, guys. Share it. Everything else, it helps. We have gotten a nice bump in subscribership. I think it's long overdue. I can't thank all the new subscribers enough. I want to thank some of them now. I know the video was, one of the clips or something was kicking around Reddit, and you all know how Reddit is. I saw a lot of people came over from there, so thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the upvotes. Guys, if you upvote multiple videos, it's a huge help. So please upvote multiple videos. Appreciate that. I want to get one of my hats on. We'll go with the U.S. Postal Service today. So, but I want to thank you guys and all the support, the new subscribers, the new followers, the new everything. If you haven't checked us out on TikTok, go check out TikTok. I appreciate that. TikTok. We're making a little inroad there. And everybody, you know, we're going, I'll say this before we start the show. We're going into and Ryan will attest to this. We're going into an interesting period now that gets quiet around the holidays. If you have time and you're trolling around, guys, go like and subscribe to some stuff and go support some stuff by adding some comments and everything else and chime in on some of the discussions. The interaction helps, especially this time of year. Anything you guys can do to help some of the channels, especially guys like the Geeks and Gamer Squad, all those different guys, Drunk 3PO, Ryan, Jeremy, all those guys, all of us. Go support by doing some of that stuff. My guest today, it's not a secret. I got the one and only Suresh Madhavan from 221B Tactical. He's in the bathroom. He's probably going to the bathroom right now. He can probably comment, but he's probably going to the bathroom. I am gonna get to Kyle Rittenhouse. I'll share my thoughts before he comes on. I will say this. I think it was the correct verdict. I think the case should have been tossed. I also think that he never should have been there. And I want to kind of give my thoughts to you guys independently because I know a lot of people will ask, and we'll get into that and what that looks like. But I think, you know, he's a young guy and he's got his whole life ahead of him. I don't think he should have been put in that position. I shared an article, I think it was, you guys can correct me, from the New York something, maybe the Post, something like that. The New Yorker. It was one of the rags in New York. I shared it on Twitter. If anybody remembers, let me know what it was. It was an interesting read, and it talked a lot about the birth of the Kyle Rittenhouses. There's parts I agree with. I know of the person that wrote it. There's parts I don't agree with. Now, the reason I think he shouldn't have been there has more to do with life and where he was in life, that he shouldn't have been put in that spot. So I want everybody to understand, I don't want him put in that spot as a young man. The other part of me understands what's the law. And what people have to understand, I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I'm not playing a lawyer on TV. But what's the law is what's the law. And at the end of the day, that young man, and he is a young man, was defending himself. And that's the facts of the case. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Daryl, appreciate you guys. And yes, we are going postal. So I want to be clear about my remarks as far as the case goes and what I saw and what I think makes sense. Now, as my guest creeps in, he already knows how I feel about the Kyle Rittenhouse deal and what that was.
Doing business.
Well, put your cans on.
Are you putting?
Yeah, your headphones to the right. He's getting his headphones on. I already announced you.
You did?
Here
we go.
There you go. Now you're hot.
Oh, should I have closed that door?
No, you're fine. Lean close to the mic, though. Yeah, there you go.
Don't be afraid. Oh, this is new.
Yeah, it's oh, yeah.
Whoa.
If you're talking in the mic, it helps.
Does it telescope?
Listen.
Wow, this is fancy.
This is your chance to say something nice about the studio, even though you've been in. Like this. Easy. You can rip the thing. He works out. You rip the thing off the fucking thing. So listen.
This is nice. Wow.
You like it in here now, huh?
This is
cool breeze, cold drink.
Yeah, this is.
It's like a Bud Light commercial.
People can't see this, but this is like the craziest podcast studio I've ever been in.
I've ever seen.
Oh, look, 221B Tactical Solo Cups. I should be drinking out of one of those.
I'll get you one. Yeah. But wait. I wanted to say, I gave my thoughts on the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I was very clear about it. You know how I felt.
A lot to talk about.
It was the right call. I think that as a 17-year-old, he never should have been there. I can get into all my reasons later as to why I think he shouldn't have been there. Yeah. But give your thoughts. I'll get you an iced up 221B cup.
I think we have to talk about with regard to what happened, which came out in the courtroom. I mean, no one can say he wasn't supposed to be there, because if you say that about him and you don't say that about the people who were throwing chunks of concrete and burning things to the ground and destroying things and looting businesses, if you say he wasn't supposed to be there, but you don't say that they weren't supposed to be there, then you almost sound like an idiot. So if I would have more respect if you said, listen, no one should have been there. But if you say the protesters who were rioting, I know if you watch certain news networks, they'll say they were peaceful while there was fires burning in the background. That's a true story. So I know that if you look at what was happening there, I would say his presence there was caused by the presence of people who truly should not have been there. His presence there was triggered by the presence of other people who were there with ill intent. So before you take a look and say, well, I shouldn't have been there in the first place. Yeah, well, I'm sure he didn't want to be there, wearing body armor with a rifle defending the town that his father lived in, something that the media conveniently left out.
I want to touch on this, though, because look, what's crazy is they were saying he killed black people.
If you...
And CNN acquiesced from that and backed off, but...
Does this telescope out?
No, it's already telescoped out. You just got to be a little closer. You're trying to
I'm like on top of this table.
Oh, you can back off. You could do... Look. You can do this. Right. No, grab this.
Yeah.
And then raise it up.
Raise it up.
With your right hand. Your right hand. See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Sorry, I had to help this guy out.
Man, this is a high speed. Anyway,
they said he killed black people.
You would think it's
crazy.
If you just got dropped onto this planet yesterday and you watched the reaction to the verdict. Salud. This pink box coffee is
gasoline.
Stupid. It's stupid.
I got you some ice in your cup.
Feel like
you get a whisper of booze in there or something. It's crazy though. CNN. They just like make up.
You would think he shot black people.
the shit they make up.
Black people. You would think. Like I was looking at
it was racially motivated.
Did you see MSNBC? They were talking about it as they were talking about him as a white supremacist. They were talking about him as a militia member. They were talking about how this is, the epitome of, white national, all this crazy stuff. I'm like, wait a second, he shot 3 white guys. And
with rap sheets as long as my arm.
Listen, that's one thing that I don't want to get into. Everyone's talking about this guy was a pedophile. This guy beat his wife. This guy.
They had rap sheets.
This guy kicked a puppy.
Some of them had rap sheets.
They had bad rap sheets, and I don't know if that's really relevant here. The relevant thing that matters is what they did that night, not what they did in the past. I mean, yeah, of course, you're a scumbag if you...
You're a scumbag. You're a douche if you're a douche.
You raped little boys and you did bad things. Yeah, you're a scumbag. But forget about all that. What they did that night, which was try to kill him, is what matters the most. People are like, 5 years ago, he kicked a puppy. I don't care about all that. That makes you a piece of garbage. But... trying to swing a chain.
One was a skateboard.
One had a chain. One had a skateboard.
Yeah, one had a chain.
And one had a pistol. Illegally. Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun legally.
Is he getting charged for
No! You know that no one's going to get charged there. He had an illegal pistol. He pointed it at Kyle Rittenhouse's head and nothing will happen. You know that.
But Ryan, I want to ask Ryan this because he commented. Ryan, is he a pedophile like he peed in the bushes pedophile or like legit kids? I forget what the charge was.
It was legit.
It was legit kid, like kiddie porn shit. Because if it was like kiddie porn stuff, I'm down to he should go, right? I agree with you, Ryan. But I just want to clarify: was he like peeing in some bushes?
I don't know. No. I think it was bad stuff.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, it was bad stuff.
Bad stuff. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So, the disservice that people are kind of blind to, that people are kind of glazing over, is the fact that the President of the United States of America called this young man a white supremacist militia member.
Right.
When there is nothing on the planet pointing to that. He shot white people who were rioting. Now, listen, I could almost remotely say, well, maybe he said that because he shot 3 black people. But he didn't shoot black people. He shot white people. And everyone's making this about race. If you don't see through that bullshit right now, and that's why, and I hate to say it, but that's the only word for it. If you don't see it right now, how they're making a case about a 17-year-old boy that shot 3 white rioters that were trying to kill him, which came out in court, and now they're trying to make it a race thing, then I don't know. I don't want to say you have no intelligence, but you probably just don't maybe have the mental capacity to to understand what's going on in life. And those people, I don't understand, how do those people put gas in their car and get to work every day? How do they make it through life? Right?
You're right. No, Ryan clarified, little boys, right?
Was he a little boy?
Daryl said dating women. It's little boy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, little boys. All right, so he deserved to go. He was a shitbag. He's a shitbag.
Listen, we're not here to say.
I know, but still, in the realm of shitbaggery, he falls high up the shitbag list.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He's a pee-pee toucher.
Yeah, he was he was a bad dude. He was a bad dude.
I get what you're saying too, and to everybody out there that's listening to this, if you're listening
Shout
to
out
this,
to Howlerhead.
you are the resistance. We'll get to Howlerhead in that bathroom. We're gonna get to that bathroom, that fucking lair.
Oh my God.
We're gonna get to Dana White's lair. But listen.
Oh my God.
I want to be clear. I want to be insanely forthright with this. I don't think Kyle Rittenhouse should have been there. That was the thing. I don't think he should have been there. I think it was unfortunate that a 17-year-old was put in that position. That's something I've been very clear about.
Where were the cops?
Where were the cops? And again, we can blame everybody. I just don't like to see a 17-year-old, kid, and that's what he is. I mean, when we look back, we're kind of in between the old and the new, and I think we can say this with a degree of honesty. Like, if you understand this, nobody wants to see a 17-year-old kid in that position.
Yeah.
But did he handle it masterfully? I think he handled it as good as any 17-year-old could. And I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it again. People are damn lucky he didn't freak out, because we've been in those types of high-speed trainings where we see that type of stuff.
We've seen people get shot.
They're damn lucky. Yeah. They're damn lucky he didn't turn on that crowd and open up on that crowd, because he could have. The stress of the situation could have provoked that, and it didn't. So I think he handled it very well.
Let me talk about one other thing that's really disturbing about this case. That's the smallest knife in the world.
That he killed black people?
That they're making it out as if he killed black people. They're making this about race, which it's completely not about race, and that people are falling for it and they're being sucked into it, which is crazy. When they're talking about what was going on there, no one is asking the question of where was law enforcement
right
protecting these businesses? Where was the law enforcement getting these rioters to move? Like, what was happening to law and order where, like, that's what we expect. We expect that when...
Yeah, but they want this chaos. They're out there, they want chaos in the streets. The left craves this, right? And it's not a left-right thing, but this is, there's discord in this country on both sides. We all can agree with that. But this is a left thing. They want panic. They want freaking out. I mean, I just saw an article. What was it? Somewhere, Louis Vuitton was getting looted, and like people are just walking in, just taking shit and leaving.
Well, that doesn't even need to be a riot anymore. You could just be in San Francisco and walk into...
They shut down Walgreens.
They're closing like so many stores there, and because San Francisco is just people are walking with garbage bags, loading them up, and walking out, and nothing's happening.
It's ridiculous.
And people there don't seem to have a problem with it.
It's ridiculous.
They don't seem to have a problem with that. So where were the police? That's the question. That was the one thing. I have no problem with obviously with people protesting peacefully, because then the police are there simply to manage, make sure but the second things start getting burned to the ground, you need the police. The second things start getting out of hand, you need the police. If they're not there to do their job, what's going to happen? You're going to have regular civilians stepping in to say, well, we need to make this work. We need to fix this. The other thing that is disturbing is the fact that you had the media putting out so much false information over the course of a year that it all came out in the trial that it was false. But for a year...
Insane.
You had them saying blatant lies. Now, I don't know, and maybe like what was it, Nicholas Sandmann? That he got
$250 million.
He got $250 million.
$250 million.
So
thank you
for defamation, whatever. Last I checked,
and he deserved every penny.
And last I checked, and this is coming straight from my attorney, a good attorney, my personal attorney,
a $500 an hour guy.
He $500, $650 an hour, $650 an hour. So he said, in order for you to get anything out of like a defamation lawsuit, you have to prove monetary loss. You have to prove some sort of monetary loss. Otherwise, you're just kind of saying, oh, they said that about me and it hurt my feelings and it's not true. Monetary loss. Where can we say that Nicholas Sandmann lost $250 million in potential income due to what? Who makes $250 million in their lifetime? So if anyone watching can answer that question, where did they come up with that number that was Nicholas Sandmann's monetary loss by CNN putting out false information about him? Okay. Now let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. With all the false information that the media put out about him, how much money is he entitled to? $1 billion? Maybe. Like what are we talking about here when we say they called him a white supremacist, they called him a militia member, they said he illegally crossed state lines with, mind you, they're saying he illegally crossed state lines. He was 20 miles from his house. His dad lived in Kenosha. And the people who are like, he crossed state lines, have no problem with people from other countries flooding into our southern border, bringing COVID, weapons, drugs. They have no problem with that. But this kid drives 20 miles into the town that, that his dad lives in, and it's like the end of the world.
Jacob brought up a good point. He said Colin Kaepernick has made $250 million tossing a football poorly and race baiting worse than Al Sharpton. I don't know that he's made $250 million.
I don't know if he made more too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's made $250 million, Jacob. But I do want to address that. Colin Kaepernick is a good marketer. I'm just going to leave it at that. He's good at like selling that whole idea, that he's like an oppressed human, and I'll give him that. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
I think the whole Colin Kaepernick thing was the biggest joke.
It's marketing.
In
it's fucking marketing.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He's raised by white parents. Yeah,
raised by white parents, right?
Yeah.
So you could say,
I honestly thought he was. I'm not being funny, guys. I honestly thought he was Spanish for a while. Like I was like
Hispanic.
Yeah, because he wasn't dark skinned to me.
No.
But
no. Like after a day on the range, you're darker than him.
Yeah.
So raised by white parents. So you can say he had a lifetime of enjoying white privilege. One could say that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here he is.
I buy that.
Here he is.
It's a good point.
Enjoying a lifetime of white privilege, now coming forth and doing this whole spectacle that, listen, the one thing I will say, and maybe people won't agree with it, is if you are in this country and you don't want to stand for the national anthem and you want to kneel, you have that freedom. Do I personally feel it's disrespectful? And do I personally feel that while you're being paid by a private organization and your job is to go play football, do I feel that's your time to do it? No. Maybe if on the weekend when you're not playing football, but you're at your kid's soccer game and they play the national anthem and you're just there as a parent. You're not getting paid now. You're off the clock, the proverbial clock. And you want to kneel for the national anthem, go for it.
You're going to look like an idiot.
Do it. Do it. Do it on the side of the soccer field where they're playing. Do it at the side of the Little League field where they're playing the national anthem before your kid's game, and kneel. And if people come up to you and say, "Hey, why are you kneeling?" Listen, I'm just, this is my silent protest. However, once it starts injecting into your workplace, they are employees of their team and ultimately the NFL. And to do that in the workplace, I just don't think anything is acceptable in the work. I don't, I just don't believe any of that belongs in the workplace. And people are there to watch athletes perform at a high level and to be entertained. They're not there to have the athletes' personal beliefs about what's going on in society be imposed upon them. Like, I went to a concert a while back, and in the middle of the concert, the performer, I'm not going to call them out, But the performer stopped and started making comments about the police and how they treat people of color and all this stuff. And I'm like, is this guy for real right now? Like, so what was funny was, as he was saying that, there was a mass exodus. And people just started leaving. People were like,
that's the woke weirdness.
That's just
being injected into a situation that it's like, shut the fuck up and sing your song.
Right. Like, listen, we're here to listen to you sing. Yeah. We don't care about your opinion. Your opinion is no different than my opinion. You just happen to be on stage singing. Your opinion is not more, doesn't hold more weight, is not more important in any way. And if you want to share that, if that performer after the show went on Instagram, his personal Instagram, and said, where people voluntarily follow him, and said, hey, I had a great show. Thanks for everyone that came out. And, I just want to share this bit about my feeling about law enforcement. Hey, awesome.
Hey, it's your stage.
Awesome. That's your private Facebook, fine. But you're going to do that. People paid money here. There were cops in the audience. And everyone's looking around like, this guy for real? Like, what the hell is going on here? So, but people started leaving. And he quickly stopped talking about it. Right. And I don't understand how that became acceptable, because
that's bullshit.
I know for sure that if it was the other way around, people would have a huge problem with it.
I do want to get to the over-politicization of shit, because I think it plays into this. Ryan asked a random question. He said, how's the Orlando gun show? Is it worth going to? Ryan, those smaller gun shows, those local ones, Suresh and I will tell you, they're kind of worth going to. They're not bad sometimes. You can find some gems, some real jewels at those smaller shows.
They're so underrated.
The old ammo guy.
Yeah.
That's where you find the old ammo guy, the cheap bag guy, the mag guy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to a couple of these gun shows. These guys are at every show. They're like lifers. Yeah, you can find some gems.
They're unbelievable.
You're not going to find gun deals. That's not really why you go. Once in a while. Once in a blue moon. You're not going to find deals.
But you find those those one-off things.
Those one-off things that you're looking for. The random pouch that no one makes.
Yeah. The
bag.
That's what those shows are good for. And it's good because...
A $10 bag that falls apart after 6 uses.
Maybe, but that's all right, because you're buying it knowing it's a throwaway.
You know it's a throwaway.
Right, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm a fan of those.
But I really enjoy how personal they are.
Yeah.
They're really small. They're really personal. You could stand there and have a conversation with someone for 20 minutes, and you build good relationships, and you could actually do some quality networking.
Yeah.
But
local brands.
A lot of people don't really... Like, everyone's like, oh, SHOT Show. Like, has...
They want to go to the big time.
It turned into... for most...
Hollywood.
For those people who don't know, the biggest farce about SHOT Show is that it's a private show for industry people only. Because walking around SHOT Show, you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry walking around with their 5'11" pants, their black polo, trying to look tactical, and then you're like, wait a second.
I can't say anything bad about the NSSF. I'll get in trouble again.
You get in trouble again.
Pinched.
I don't know if you can get in more trouble. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
I'll get in
possible.
trouble. Apparently, you can't, you'll be a little judicious.
Anyway,
we'll see.
Those small shows are great. You meet great people, and you can find some great steals. So I highly encourage people, if you see a local gun show and it's within an hour's drive, you go, one, to support it, but two, so you can walk around and meet some of the people there and support some of the smaller guys, because that's how 221B Tactical made it. We started at a local podunk show in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Oh,
and that's
embarrassing.
Oh God, Atlantic City is dangerous.
It's terribly embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. Atlantic City.
If anyone asks, you started at Caesars in Vegas. I love those local gun shows. I grew up going to the Shriners in is it Woburn? If someone from my hometown's in here, someone could tell me. It's the Shriners in Woburn, I believe. Wilmington. So we go to the Shriners and we would go to the gun show, and the things I would look for were like obscure ammos I had been looking for a long time, and I would look for mags, weird mags that I needed. Stuff like that was what I always enjoyed those shows for. But yeah, you go into them knowing what they are, and there's good brands to talk to, and sometimes you'll get lucky and a bigger company will take a chance on a show like that, and you'll get more intimate time with a larger brand. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, it's really, and I'm a big fan of supporting small businesses, and I think that a lot of people, are. The one of the saddest things about the whole COVID debacle was that a lot of these small businesses disappeared, and but of course, the big businesses were allowed to be open, and there was no problem with 100 people being in Walmart and Target and Costco. No big deal. They didn't close down, but like the local shops closed down, and they weren't allowed to have 2 people inside their store, which no one with a brain has been able to explain to me how the local small deli that never had more than 2 people in the place at one time had to shut down, but Walmart had 1,000 people in there. People were not social distancing. People were just kind of, and it just blows my mind. So anyway.
With that being said, though, this is a great time, guys. I promise you what's about to be told, not one shred is made up. Do you want to tell the Dana White story? There's enough people in here now. I think some people will listen.
I don't know if anyone would believe the Dana White story. Oh wait, are we allowed to tell it?
I say tell it. He'd like it if we told
I don't
him.
want to give too much detail.
We're gonna listen. Some things are gonna listen, guys. Some things are gonna be omitted to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. There's something, but we're gonna tell the Dana White story.
Yeah.
So I'll start it. We pull up to the gate because we got a meeting over there. I'm not gonna get into the particulars of the meeting and all that stuff, but I'm saying we got a meeting over there. There's some good stuff coming.
It was 221B tax.
Yeah, but there's some good stuff coming. We'll leave it at that. So I get told to stop, and then a Ferrari goes flying by. Okay? They say, hold up. We got to let Dana in. So I text him. I said, Jesus, you flew by me like I was worthless. I can't even get in now. So I come in after. He goes, I'll meet you in the lobby. And I'm going to leave it there. He meets us in the lobby. Go ahead. What happened after?
So we go in the
Tell
door.
your part. I'll tell part.
We go in the door, and Dana White is waiting for us in the lobby. It's absolutely incredible. And
he might have been in pajamas.
He was in relaxed clothing. And he says, hey, you guys want to come up and check out my office? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. And the guy is the nicest guy in the world and totally down to earth. I mean, everyone sees him as this larger than life figure, and he is a large figure physically when you meet him. And so you're like, oh, obviously a little intimidating. And then he's super nice when you meet him and so down to earth. So we go up in the elevator. It's like James Bond. There's like a fingerprint scan to
retina.
Like, am I lying?
No.
No, there's biometrics to go in.
I said at the beginning, I gave a disclaimer.
Oh,
it was not, you wouldn't believe it if we told it straight.
You just wouldn't believe it. So we go up in the elevator.
It goes relaxed clothing. I keep going.
And, we go, I come out this elevator, and then there's his receptionist there, secretary, or admin assistant.
Immediately.
I don't know what the proper term is these days. That won't get you canceled. And then
it's too late.
So we go into this. It's already done. We go into this office, and it's the biggest office I've ever walked into, where there's a desk and there's a conference table and there's obviously.
Pause. Let me give a disclaimer. I've been in some offices.
Oh, I've
been in some offices.
I haven't.
I've been in some offices. I've been in the biggest offices. I've been in some offices.
Right.
Just gonna leave it at that. We both have.
We both have. And obviously I have. What I thought was a nice office.
I'll get to making fun of you.
Oh, so we walk in, and I don't even know 50 by 50, 60 by 60. I don't know how big this office was. But it was beautiful, and it was incredible. A lot of glass. And
60 by 60. Which room?
I don't even know. So anyway, so we're there, and then there's like this door to this one side, and he's like, "Oh, let me show you this." And we go through this door, and there's a full-blown, like, bar. Like a bar that you would go to, like, on a Friday night with your family.
A full-blown bar.
Full-blown. Like, for, like...
Better than the bar at T-Bone's.
Better than the most bars that most people have walked into. It was so...
It was like Fridays. He opened the door, and all of a sudden they were like, "Welcome to TGI Fridays."
Just shy of that. I was like,
I was like, "What?"
Exactly. We're like, where are we? It was...
There might have been a sign that said boneless wings.
Seriously. Like, every room we walked into was like you went through like a portal.
I'm going to pause you right there. He said every room as if there were multiple.
There were multiple. So this full-blown bar, restaurant, like nicer than any place I've ever been in, was there. And it was just like ready to go. Like ready to like host at least 60 people if they needed, you know.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Easy.
That room,
Yeah.
easy.
And you know, it was like tiered. There was a lounge area. I was like, wow, okay. And
It was insane.
And then it was purely mental. It was absolutely mental. So I was like, that's pretty cool. The guy has a bar off his office.
You're like, good. He was like, good for him.
Like,
I got something like that, kind of.
Yeah, I kind of got something
But
like
wait,
that.
but he was like, but wait, there's more.
We're like, so he's like, oh, come this way. And he takes us toward a door that I didn't even see. Was it one of those doors in the wall?
It was like you wove your hand and moved a book, and it opened up, and it was.
Oh, this was like some Illuminati.
It was like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
This is some Illuminati stuff. I was like, what? You know, what was that movie where like the British people in the suits? They were like, they had like the
movie that was called The American Revolution.
No. Oh my God. So anyway, so we go into this like door.
It was a full listen. It was a full blown Bruce Wayne door. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. And it just led to one experience after the other. I don't want to get into details because it's his private stuff.
Pussy.
But it just was like another room and then another experience and another room and another experience. And it just kept going.
And listen, just so everybody knows, there's like full-blown ARs, AKs, shit laying around. I know people have seen it, maybe that troll videos of his from his office and stuff like that. There's some shit. And you go through another room and another room, and he's right. Listen, I'll paraphrase it too. Let me just say this. There's a salon.
Oh my! It got to the point where
we opened the door and there might have been another restaurant. Call me a liar.
No, you're
Call me a liar.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
Look at me right now, and you can't.
That was when I saw like the chefs and the flames. I was like, we are in a completely mental experience right now, and I'm like, this is beyond. And it was then I realized that
I have nothing.
I was like, what is going I immediately opened my phone. I don't know if you saw me. I opened my phone and I swiped to my bank account and I felt bad. I was like, oh my God. So that was the
electric bill to run this place. To run the office.
Oh my God. There was more employees working in his office and the rooms upon rooms upon rooms around his office that then work at 221.
Let me be real, guys. I've seen some executive washrooms.
Oh.
I'm going to add another. Giving you little clues. There might have been a gym.
Oh.
And I'm not talking about a Bowflex.
Oh God. Oh man. It was so beautiful. It was so amazing. And it was just amazing that he gave us that tour and that access and showed us that. But, you know, he was so gracious in doing it. And I don't want, and this is the one thing I want to make clear, he didn't do it in a show-off kind of way. he did it in a way that was really kind of...
I said, I'm hanging out.
Yeah, it was really kind of muted. It was kind of just like, hey, let me just show you around. Like someone was like showing me around their house. I mean, I think all that space was bigger than my house actually. But it was, and I want to make that clear because it wasn't like a showy like, oh, hey, yo, check this out. It wasn't like that at all. It was simply like, hey, this is my spot and this is where I am and this is and I was just, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. That was...
Let me ask this. Let me ask. I'll ask a couple questions. You give a couple answers, and it'll give people insight. Could you sustain life there?
1,000%. You would never have to leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask another question. Would you sell your house and move in? Is it like suitable as a living space?
I would sell my house and everything in it right this second.
And live in that.
And live there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. The cost of staffing such an operation, right? And makes it duly intimidating.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting a glimpse into the future of what an executive area looks like. And I've seen some areas like that. What do you say? Over the top or where it's going?
No. I think what we witnessed there was something that there are two kinds of people in this world. There are the people who will look at that and say, this is ridiculous, this is over the top, this is gluttonous or too opulent, whatever. But then there are the people who say, damn, this is where I got to get to. This is the level. This is where I need to be at. This is what I want to work to achieve. And that's how I felt. I felt when I got done with that tour, which took almost an hour, I said, am I lying?
No. There was some other dialogue.
There was some other stuff we were talking about that we can't share. But
definitely not.
That, I got to tell you, was motivating for me. It was motivating for me. And I loved how humble he was about it. He was totally authentic that entire time. And that's how he is. Most people who meet him know that. But for those of you who have never met him and don't know him, he truly is that kind of guy. And I got to tell you, I was like, man, I got to step up my game. I got to move. Now, what that was something you and I have been talking about recently, which was it's not about the product, it's about the experience. What kind of experience? Because now we're getting into that realm post-COVID where if you have a product that's the same as the other guy's product, but you're just trying to beat them by adding like a 2-bit feature or just dropping your price below them, you're dead. You're dead. You're not going to make it. You have to not only sell your product, but your product has to come with an experience that makes people choose your product over your competitor's product. Well, rule number 1, come out with the product, innovate, and come out with the product that everyone else doesn't have. However, if you're going to get into that space and you're going to create a product to go against already existing products, don't just make it about the product. Make it an experience. Why would people buy your product over the competitor's product? Well, if they buy your product, they're not just receiving the product in mail 2 days later. They're being introduced to a lifestyle, an experience, and all the things that come with it, like what Sig's doing. Sig Sauer has this I just found out about it. I'm so mad at Hannah. But anyway, when you buy, we're gonna fight. That's
not true.
When you buy, I wouldn't fight her. I would lose. When you buy a Sig Sauer Legion, you are given access to this private event that they hold for Legion members only. That is at their headquarters. And what was it? A week long thing or 3 days or something crazy?
Listen.
And you would never, John's been there, and it is an experience on top of an experience where you are going to do things that you've never done before. You're going to see things that you've never seen before and experience the Sig Sauer lifestyle. Now, you can buy a high-end gun from a lot of other companies, and the only thing you get after you buy the gun is the product and the bill. That's it. And that's where the experience ends. If you follow them on Instagram, you might see some photos of them holding their guns or something. But with Sig Sauer is creating something completely different.
They're creating even an experience at the point of purchase.
Yes, exactly. So that is where it's going. That's going to be the new standard, where if you're not doing that, you are going to be left behind so fast, your head is going to spin.
Yeah, I could spend all day on this. Everybody knows this on this show. I think experiential marketing and develop an experience for the people, just eat it like an animal. He's looking for a donut, people. I'm going to put it on there. Look at this. So
I'm going for it.
He's going for it. So I think that obviously that's where it's going, and that's where it's been going for a really long time. Oh, get it. It's been going towards experiential marketing. And I think, Drunk 3PO is just over at an event with 9line and I believe the what are they called? Big Daddy Unlimited people.
Yeah.
He was at a thing. And look, we all know how those things are, and we're kind of in between in an industry where you have a lot of people coming around. They don't know how they fit in, and that stuff is starting to shake itself out. Right. But here's the thing. They're trying to put something together. I'm not necessarily a giant fan of like car shoots, of rat-tat-tat-tat stuff. I mean, people have seen me shoot full auto. They've seen me shoot. I can shoot a gun. It's not a problem.
Right.
But I think they're sorting that out. And I think experiential marketing is going to be the way to go. I've been in some crazy, let's back this up and put it in perspective, some crazy offices where I've seen insane bathrooms, showers, gyms. I've seen executive gyms, and I've even seen kitchens.
I've never seen a kitchen in...
This was a restaurant.
That was a restaurant.
Okay? This was a restaurant
I've never seen
with a bar.
Bro.
And I've been in a lot of rooms.
I think that dude was ready to make some sushi. He could have made me like a shrimp tempura roll right there on the spot.
No doubt in my mind. No doubt.
Yeah. Bananas. So that, to me, that is a driving...
You want to get up there.
That's where I want to be. And you know what? I'm unapologetic about that.
I'll go up there.
I'll go down there. I'll go down there. And like, to me, there's no shame in that. Now, some people might think there is, and some people might not want to say it out loud. Like, that's where I want to be. The guy blew past us in a $500,000 Ferrari, like we were like homeless on the side of the road.
Jumped out in some Crocs.
And, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to... Listen, I want to get to that level and offer that experience and offer that desire for other people to get there too. That's what, the little that I have, compared to what he is at and the level he's at, I feel like, yeah, I don't have. But I know on the grand scheme of things, I'm not gonna put down where I've gotten and where I have, what I have and where I am right now. And I know that people come see what I have, and it motivates them.
This was the equivalent of Coming to America when he's like, Suresh was like, hey, let me show you a picture of my office. And he was like, what? Let me show you this room. He was like, hold my beer. There may have been I'm going to be real with all of you. There may have been an ice cream truck. Don't act like I didn't see the fridge.
Oh my goodness! It was like if we had the freedom, just out of respect, we won't. But if we had the freedom to describe every room we went into, people wouldn't even believe it.
I'll give everybody one more tip, then we'll move on because I want to get back to Kyle Rittenhouse, a couple other things. Listen, I'm going to say something. There might have been a movie theater. Call me a liar.
You're not lying.
I'll get up and walk out right. I'll give the show away. I'll give it away. Call me a liar.
Oh my God.
That was a theater.
Full blown. I know we're talking about this, and there's probably some people who are like, these guys are lying.
We're dressing it up.
No.
If it was a home, it might have been $1 million home.
We're actually, I'm being real here. We're actually downplaying it because we can't really even talk about it. We're downplaying just how incredible this experience was. We're downplaying it. Like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Except I got to start working harder. I got to start working.
I may have seen a chandelier or two.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we even signed a waiver.
I don't know. We may have, we just not have known.
Right now.
Oh man, that was something.
Anyway.
That was something.
Anywho. We will be at the fights.
Yes.
Today.
UFC Fight Night. Make sure you tune in. ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that. But as we transition back to sports, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh wow.
Aaron Rodgers.
I haven't talked about him. I haven't really talked because I think the whole thing's so ridiculous. But go ahead. Don't say anything that we said in the room. But
no. Aaron Rodgers. Do you stand with his decision and how he went about it?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you because I know he did a little play on words.
Here's what I say, okay? Here's the thing with the Aaron Rodgers deal, guys. Again, I can in no way say I'd be better at him than this or however this went down. I don't know. A lot of people said he lied to his teammates. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what went on. I don't know what waivers they signed with the Green Bay Packers. I don't know those things. So I have no idea. If he lied to his team, that's one thing.
That fell apart once it found. Not to jump in and cut you off. I know I asked you the question.
Finish your donut, but go ahead.
It's so good.
Go ahead.
Hey, we worked out hard. By the way, we worked out hard.
We'll get to the workout, the steam.
Oh, we worked out hard at this incredible place. It was on the level of Dana's office. So when people are saying he lied to his teammates, and the thing that everyone's leaving out, once again, this is like the Kyle Rittenhouse. The people you could like just slander people in media and put out lies, and when it comes around that you were completely lying, there's no accountability. So, the Green Bay Packers as an organization, and the National Football League as an organization, and the entire coaching staff of the Green Bay Packers knew he was not vaccinated, and they were treating him differently in their facility, traveling to games and at the facilities of other teams. They were treating him differently openly, and he knew he had to follow a different set of rules, and he was. So anyone who says that he lied to his teammates and his teammates were in the dark, they didn't know is completely lying. You cannot be on a football team with a player that is being completely treated differently than everyone else and not notice it.
Right.
So his teammates knew he wasn't vaccinated. They knew he was being treated differently. In travel, in practice, in games, in post-practice, in post-game. He had to follow a slightly different set of rules. They're not idiots. They knew what was going on. He wasn't vaccinated. The entire coaching staff knew he wasn't vaccinated. Roger Goodell, the entire NFL organization, you knew he wasn't vaccinated. So everyone coming out, once it came out after he got COVID, people were like, he lied to everyone. Who did he lie to? Who didn't know? Is it a lie if everyone already knew the truth?
No, obviously is the short answer. But let me say this. I like I said, I don't know. I wasn't there. It's one of those, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say, like, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what conversations were had. That's the disclaimer I have to give.
Right.
Otherwise, do I think he has the right to choose? If that's the basic question, of course he does.
Of course he does.
Do I think everybody should have that right? Of course I do. And am I absolutely over the moon over the decision to not mandatory vaccinate, businesses over 100 employees or whatever? Absolutely. I think these are all huge tide turning things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that we're getting towards, and in some conversations that I'll allude to, we were talking about some of this, there's guys like Bill Maher that I've brought up that are creating what I call the middle of the road. They're starting to show us where the line is. We all may think it's further,
Right.
But let me say this. We're starting to find where the line is.
Right.
And with Youngkin winning in some of those situations, we know where the line is.
Yeah.
And I think that's starting to show itself. Am I right? I think I'm right saying that.
The most troubling thing is how quickly the mob turns the second someone even slightly changes the words coming out of their mouth or their mindset. And it is such an indication that I don't know how the average, everyday, intelligent human being, I guess there's a lack of intelligence there.
Right.
Because if a black woman is celebrated and put on a pedestal by the liberal side, let's call it, right? And she's a champion for them to the point where the president does a live stream side by side with this individual. And she's great. We're canceling Mr. Potato Head, but she's on stage essentially having sex with another woman at a concert, singing about wet ass P word for a woman's private, and she's talking to the president on a live stream, and she's the greatest thing. And the second she makes a comment that slightly goes against their narrative, she becomes public enemy number one. If that doesn't scream out to you what is really going on here, then you might be mentally handicapped. You might be operating without brain cells. I don't know.
Well, you're referring to two. You're talking about. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't want to say the P word either. But Nicki Minaj was a separate. They're two separate people. But the turning of the mob is what is terrifying.
That's terrifying.
There's a lot of. Here's a word I keep coming back to in all this, whether you're the media or anything. Forget about honesty and truth and all these things guys we're searching for. You're never going to get those.
No.
You're never going to get those even in a perfect environment. And if you think that there was a time when the media didn't manipulate us, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I will say this. There's just no more grace. There's no grace. Everything is get 'em. That's what everything is. Everything is get 'em.
Kill him.
Get them.
Kill him. Take him out.
And it's and that's what there's no grace.
And we see it on shows like The View.
Yeah.
They will turn against their own.
Listen.
Viciously.
Whoopi Goldberg was prepared to make Dr. Jill Biden the Surgeon General. Mm-hmm. And she had to be corrected that she only had a PhD. So if you think that any of these people are reading beyond the bullet points, and that's a very, listen to the fact check gods, that clip's been circulated 100 times. It's a true story.
She said she would love to have her as a doctor.
As a Surgeon General.
She's brilliant, and if she had the opportunity to have Dr. Jill Biden as her personal doctor,
yeah,
she would.
And Joy Behar was like,
she has a PhD in education. She's not a medical doctor. And she's like, oh.
Yeah. So, yes.
And that is the level of intelligence of the people that have these loud platforms. And listen, that's not a right or a left thing. That is,
listen,
you're an idiot.
Listen, let me say this, and it's going to sound weird coming from me with a microphone in front of me, but I think you guys all get my level of sarcasm. These are insane egomaniacs that have a microphone, and they know every time they turn that microphone on, they're talking to millions of people, and they just talk to hear themselves talk. Mm-hmm. And they just want to fill up the air with their voice. That's all it is. They view it as 100% a 1 hour commercial for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing that was shocking was the black woman who, I think, was it Virginia? Lieutenant governor?
Yeah.
Right?
Something like that.
Right. Now,
Yes. I know. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Immigrant. Came here from
Jamaica or something
like that. veteran, right?
Marine, right?
I think so. I don't know. Marine, Air Force, but a veteran. She served our country.
Yeah.
And the vitriol that was spewed against this woman because of her political affiliation and her political views, not only was it they didn't care that she was black, but the fact that now
She was the first one elected statewide, first black. I'm not know if I'm going to butcher this, but first black elected statewide in Virginia.
Yeah.
Huge accomplishment.
Huge. And there is no celebrating that for them. It is get her, take her out.
That's all it is.
And she has not hurt anyone. She is very well accomplished,
Well spoken,
has an incredible resume, and she's there fighting for her people. And holy crap, you couldn't believe the attacks against her. So if I say I love women and I support women and women's rights, but the second a woman speaks in a manner that doesn't jive with my narrative, and I start attacking her and putting her down and belittling her and even fabricating stories about her.
It's okay in our business, but not that. Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. So, and no one says anything. No one says a word about it. So did you truly support women, or do you only support women that align with your narrative? Because if you support women no matter what. And you celebrate their accomplishments no matter what. Not just the women who fall in line with how you think and feel.
All right.
Because then, and now we're seeing it. We're seeing it more and more and more. And the troubling thing is they're not called out.
Yeah.
They're not called out for it. And I think what we need to see is a movement for people getting called out for moves like that, and for people getting called out for fault. Now, I can't believe after that Nicholas Sandmann debacle that these news media outlets, to say they can't help themselves is an understatement. They have to continue doing what they're doing, continue to do what they did with Kyle Rittenhouse and what they did in other cases. Now, I'm going to dumb this back, and it's completely okay. I'll dumb this down to a situation I've spoken about publicly. There was a female plastic surgeon in the town that I was a police officer in. Okay, her name will be in the book. She was a complete piece of garbage, and I pulled her over for talking on the cell phone. She ultimately lied and said she wasn't on the cell phone, and ultimately she tried to sue the police department for $1 million because she was inconvenienced that she had to come to court to fight the cell phone ticket. Well, cell phone records ultimately showed that her attorney produced that she was on the phone during the time, just prior to the time of me pulling her over. So she was found guilty of being on the cell phone. And then she lied and put her daughter on the spot and made her daughter lie for her. It was so uncomfortable. It was disgusting, but typical of what you see in today's society. So there was no recourse for me to go back against her for lying about the situation. I think if we, in society, start going after those people, you want to fabricate something, and it ultimately comes out that you lied and you are fabricating it, there should be some harsh, fast penalty against you, and that's the only way that's going to stop it. That's the only way it's going to stop it.
You know I got some serious thoughts on this.
I know you do.
Rabbit, I don't want to ignore your question. Has BRCC made an apology to Kyle yet? They're not going to make an apology to Kyle.
What did they say? What did they do?
No, originally they kind of acquiesced and weren't behind him. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, guys. Somebody posted the meme. It's not me. Black Rifle Coffee and NRA will probably run to this kid try to grab the 15 minutes.
Of course.
I would think, right?
Course,
they're going to run to him. They don't typically you don't see like the NRA work with mainstays of the industry. They go after like whoever's hot in the moment. And I can't speak to Black Rifle. I don't know enough of them and what they look. I don't even know what they look for. We've actually never even talked about that. I couldn't even venture to guess.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
That's a whole podcast. Yeah. I couldn't even tell you what they look for.
Yeah,
they're a mystery. But
so anyway,
no. But what I was getting to is, and I'm not ignoring your question. You know, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are going to say things, and maybe this is one part advice to people out there. I've dealt with a lot of fabricated stories about me, and I'm not getting into my personal life or anything like that, but I've dealt with a lot of fabricated stories. And if 3PO's in here, he'd know what I was talking about. He's seen some. I've dealt with it a lot, and you know, I've dealt with it a lot. It's one thing to say in passing, you think X about somebody. Okay?
Your opinion.
I get your opinion. He sucks.
Yeah.
You know, this one's cool. Whatever. It's another thing when you start publishing things. Now, what is publishing? To me, and you know what I've been through, even some memes and certain stuff, to me, certain things are libel. Okay? Certain things. If you're creating dialogue in Discord and having a conversation, I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for that. I want nothing more than a conversation with leaders of our industry to try to make our industry better. So if anyone thinks I come on here and I just yell, I promise you, and one of my best friends next to me will tell you, everything is laced in truth. Okay? I leave it to you guys to interpret a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, and figure it out for yourself. But I think there's a lot of truth in it. Enough for me to report it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
I think sometimes some of these news outlets, they've lost sight of what good reporting is long time ago. But I think sometimes these news outlets, these people that publish articles, that put things in the written word, that take it to that level, definitely deserve some reprisal.
There has to be action taken against them. Until there is action, swift, harsh action,
it'll never stop
against them. It will never stop. It will never stop.
I'll say it, and I'll say it without getting too into it, because some of it is, I've had people say, you know, I've had people say I've kidnapped people. I've had crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up, am I?
Where it gets dangerous is if you put out an opinion of someone about their
anything. Personal life.
Is this sugar free? Yeah. As I just
sugar free. Just a fucking donut.
I just ate a donut.
Oh, that's a clip.
I'll do the Big Mac, the extra large fries, and that Diet Coke. Make sure that Coke's diet. I don't want to mess around with that.
Keep going. You're making a good point.
So, if you're gonna share your opinion, hey, I don't like that guy. I don't
something
like
about
him.
him
I don't
or
like
her.
Whatever. You know, something rubs me the wrong way. Whatever. That's one thing. The second you start speaking in a manner as if what you're saying is fact, and you're now saying things that are, if you want to say, yeah, I was at a party one time and I saw that guy, like, you know, yell at someone or curse someone off, and I don't know, he was just a jerk. I was at a function one time.
That's fine.
That's fine. Whatever. The second you start talking fact and start putting out felonies, like telling people that this person committed a felony, and
he's not lying.
This is a true story. This
Go
is
ahead.
a true story, and you're saying it in a domain in which it could seriously impact that person's life. You're a piece of garbage. You are a piece of garbage. Now, and if you don't say it, everyone's out with that is, I heard.
I'll listen, in some of my instances, and he'll laugh when I say this, I'll even take I heard.
I heard. But when they say it as if it's gospel, like if they saw a police report or like they saw the green sheet, and you're like, wait a second, that's just
you say it to people that they're like, I was just with him 10 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, what are you talking
What are you talking about? If that was true, he'd be in jail. What are you talking about? What are you actually talking about? Like, and we see it a lot in this.
And he's dead serious right now.
And we see it a lot in this industry. I don't know why we see it and why it's so prevalent in this industry, but we see it a lot with females making these comments about males in this industry. And I don't know about any other industries and whether, what it's like, but
someone else big in the industry brought this. I'm going to tell you later, but somebody else brought this up to me. But go ahead.
And
I'm not going to say who.
Once again, and this is not putting anyone down, putting any gender down, putting any industry down or anything like that. In my experience, being in this, tactical defense industry for quite some time now, I have factually noticed, that we see a lot of females in this industry that are very quick to make these grand statements about men and speak about it as if it's fact. And it's completely false. And everyone kind of now shudders a little bit and is like, oh, wait. And this is a story I'm going to tell you.
And we're talking about at the business and personal level.
Yeah, this is a business level affecting people's business. Now, if you're going to talk about something and you're going to just be at the bar shooting the breeze and say, yeah, I don't know.
Let's just say let's just say this. In my business, I would take I heard. I would take that.
That's fine. But the one example, and I know he's watching, the one example was a female associated with a company in this industry. I'm not going to say the company name. They make a product that lets you hold gear on the back of the seats in your car, tactical gear. A female said that a male who was in the industry, at an event, was undressing her with his eyes. And this was at a photo shoot type event.
I don't even know this story.
Lots of men, lots of women on a range on a bright sunny day.
Yeah.
Now, when I say a bright sunny day and everyone's on a range, what's the first thing you think that everyone's probably wearing?
Light gear, T-shirts, jeans.
But what else would you be wearing when it's a bright sunny day on a range doing a photo shoot?
Sunglasses.
Okay. So I talked to multiple people because I wanted to get the skinny. And
you never even told me this story.
It was confirmed that everyone at that shoot, I guess 99% of the time, had their sunglasses on. So it came down the road later on, months later, there was another event, and this guy and the business he was involved with was going to be part of this girl and the company she's involved with event. And she said to, I believe one of her siblings maybe owns the company, I'm not sure, that she didn't want that employee of that company at the event. And he was, at that time, an integral part of the company. And when it was asked why, she said, because, a few months back at that photo shoot, I felt like he was undressing me with his eyes. Now, mind you,
I don't know the definition, but is that toxic feminism? Is that like a toxic level, like the decision to automatically ostracize someone based on hearsay and conjecture?
Right. And so,
is that kind of what that is?
But what do you do? Like, right. What do you do? You're the owner of the company, whatever it was, her brother or whatever. So what do? You have to respect I don't want to say it was a complaint, but you got to respect that she's saying that she was at this event with this gentleman. And now at some point, every guy is going to deal with this, right? So she's saying she was at this event with this gentleman who was an employee of that company. And now she's saying she doesn't want him coming to this event that is going to be another joint event because she felt that he, months prior, never said anything to anyone, was undressing her with his eyes on the range that day during the photo shoot. Now, when it came to investigation, people said, well, first of all, everyone had sunglasses on. Second of all, the guy was, in and around 100 different people, and it was to say that
she made an accusation and an assertion. She's there's two things. There's one thing if he was, so like a lot of people make accusations. Somebody did this to me. Well, was that person even looking? You know what I mean?
They had sunglasses on.
So
were they even looking at you, or were they?
So you're asserting that they were even looking at you,
right?
So,
and you're asserting that like the guy had a girlfriend and the guy or whatever. And of course, so I went to the source and I talked to him and I said, "What's the story?" He's like, "I don't know how someone can make that assessment when you're wearing mirrored sunglasses."
And
like, how do you even make that assessment, and where did that come from? Now, I came to find out that this isn't the first time that an accusation like this has been brought up by this person.
Right.
Apparently, there's been some history and
she has a track record.
A troubled past, and there's nothing. You can't speak down about that. We all have had trauma in our life, and maybe she's had some trauma, and maybe this is born from that trauma. I don't know. I'm speculating. However, there has to be a line at some point where someone has to say, wait a second, we're going to the point of lunacy. This is a photo shoot on a range. Everyone's wearing sunglasses,
right,
yourself included, and you're sitting here saying someone undressed you. I mean, First of all, and I'm not saying this in any kind of bad way, but you always want to respect women in a professional setting or a private setting. You always want to respect women. You don't want to gawk at anyone or stare at anyone or stare at anyone's their back.
Make someone feel uncomfortable.
You don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. You don't want to stare at their backside. You don't want to stare at their chest.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. And most guys know that, but how do you accuse someone of that who's wearing sunglasses? How do you? And no one, that was the basic question that nobody asked. Nobody said, well.
It's funny you bring a story up like this because it's a stupid story, right? Like it's like the dumbest shit that.
It's the dumbest shit.
But you and I both know stuff like this happens all the time in this industry. Wait. And it's 40 phone calls to clear it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how, hey. And that's a testament to this business, guys. That's how serious we take integrity. But what I don't understand is what you're getting at, which is how quick people are to jump from us being a group that'll waste 40 phone calls trying to find out if someone's cool and everything's cool, or we're so quick to turn the other way and shun them. It's insane. That dynamic is insane.
Absolutely mental. And the fact that this man's organization that he was working for, and he was at the time an integral part of that organization, made the decision to keep him from attending that event so to appease that girl, and he had no recourse, and he was like kind of left in the wind, and he was like, wait a second, so let me get this straight. I can be accused of undressing a female with my eyes, despite the fact that everyone was wearing mirrored sunglasses, and she makes this statement that I did this months ago, and now without any kind of proof, without any kind of anything, just her words.
I know where you're going with this.
I am now banned from this event, and it's gonna hurt my career and hurt my identity, and now people are gonna be like, and he's done. He's no longer with that company. And I'm like, wait a second, this is so crazy. Now, you always want to respect a complaint from a woman,
from anyone,
a man or a woman, but we have to draw the line when we say, okay.
Let me jump in. We convict them in kangaroo court.
Right.
Okay. We convict them in kangaroo court. What it is we make decisions as cliques or groups, and that's where cliques and groups get dangerous. And we say, this person's out. And we talked about this. Early in my career, I dealt with some gatekeepers of the industry.
Right.
And I've dealt with this my whole career. And look, there's going to be people that are going to say, my way is better. Okay?
Right.
I like to think when it comes to marketing, one of the reasons that I was a front runner in my industry and got to the places that I was is I was willing to do and take chances in areas and spaces that were unconventional. That's not anything new, guys. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm Tony frickin' Robbins.
Right.
I think that's common sense, but I just came in with a different vibe and did things a little differently for a long time in this industry.
John,
Now, what?
Let me ask you something. And you're right, you did. But you've also seen a lot since really jumping in 2 feet into this industry. I'm going to ask you this now, and we all know the answer. If I went to that same range photo shoot and I said after the fact, I called that company and told the owner of that company, hey, by the way, at that shoot a few months ago, I felt like your sister was eyeing me up and kind of looking at me inappropriately, kind of,
Sure.
you know, it made me really uncomfortable. So I would prefer if this event that's coming up, she didn't come. What would have happened? Be honest. We're here. We're here. We're in the studio with a million guns behind us. Be honest. What would have happened if I called that guy and said 3 months ago at that photo shoot on the range when everyone was wearing sunglasses and whatever?
We all know the answer.
Say it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
We all know the answer. Nothing.
He would have said, what? Hey, bro, I talked to her.
Don't be a pussy. Yeah. It's like the be a man thing.
Yeah.
Don't be a pussy. Just deal with it, right?
He would probably have said, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, you joking?
Are you joking here right now? Are you kidding me? Like, suck it up. Whatever. It would have been dismissed. Or it would have maybe been addressed with her. But ultimately, she would have been there. You know, she would have been there. It wouldn't have been like, you're no way. No way. It would not have happened. Everyone with half a brain cell listening to this, watching this right now knows nothing would have happened. And that is not equity.
He's not lying.
That is not equity. That is not equal treatment. And everyone out there marching for equity and equal rights and equal treatment.
Marching.
Come on, marching, rioting, throwing rocks.
Wish people would march.
Right? What happened to people marching, right? So to me, that right there is very telling. And that is one of the dangers that we need to address. We need to address a national news organization putting out a blatant lie about a 17-year-old kid and repeating that lie for a year. Where were the fact checkers? Where the hell were the fact checkers on that?
Let me pause you because you're giving a lot to unpack. It's a lot. You're right. There's no consequences and reprisals, and there's no equality in that dialogue. There's just not.
Zero.
And listen, you know this because you know me.
Right.
I've lived through a lot of this, a lot of different shit. I've lived through it. And I've been, always, or at least what I think, upfront and honest.
Yeah.
And I've always been forthright about everything with my audience. There are things I don't say, guys, and there are things I don't bring up, and people and situations I don't bring up that I've had differences with in Discord, and there's reasons for that. And a lot of it is because there were private conversations had, and I feel the way I feel, and I'm not going to change. And that includes some organizations in that. But what I find interesting more than anything is there's a failure for the situation to correct itself. And that's what you're bringing up. There's no sling back to the other side. And the question becomes, how do you do that? How do you create that type of equality if somebody puts something out into the universe like that? I think what everybody has to start doing, and everybody in this chat, and you included, and said it before, whether it's sponsorship, support, anything you throw behind somebody, really think that decision through. And if somebody ever has led you astray with something that's severe, and you've known me a long enough time now to know there's not a lot of stuff I bullshit about. I'm pretty forthright and honest about how I feel.
To a fault.
What I think to a fault. To a fault. And a lot of people will say the same thing over and over again. They don't necessarily like my delivery.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give you the right.
Doesn't make you wrong.
It doesn't make me wrong and doesn't give you the right to do some of the stuff I've seen done to me and said about me and put out there, because I take a lot of it on the chin and laugh. But there's been some stuff that I'm like, if it was written, it's borderline criminal.
It's criminal.
It's criminal.
But
I've lived it.
But we've also seen the people who are actually doing some scandalous stuff, and nothing is said about it. It like goes.
Yeah, it's they used to say that about Don. That 45. He had a Teflon, and a lot of people develop that Teflon mystique. I get it. I can tell you this. I can only speak for me, right? Because I don't know everybody behind closed doors. I know some of my friends, and I know what goes on. I can tell you this. My life's pretty boring behind closed doors. And that's my private life, and I keep it private, but my life's pretty boring.
Yeah.
And I think you'd attest to that.
If anyone knew what you and I actually were sitting down and did last night, they would be like, these guys are losers.
Yeah, it's not exciting. You're not lying. Now, with that being said, I think people want to have support narrative to everything. And in the Kyle Rittenhouse case or your buddy's case or anybody's case, what they do is this is where it gets dicey. Reporters now have the freedom to like float these things.
Yep.
And that's what I think a lot of people do, even in our business. Yeah. They float things. I heard. I think. It's rumored. And what they're doing is nobody's checking these people's sources. Nobody's fact checking these things. Nobody's looking at any of this stuff. And you certainly can't rely on the regulation of the body that's trying to create the Discord, because the Discord's where the interaction is and the clicks and the everything else that go into it. It's all social currency. And I can attest, and maybe it's a product of any of my success or anything like that. You will attest to this. A lot of people have used my name for social currency. Yeah. Now, I can't imagine what it's like for people that really are people.
Like, yeah.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah, serious next level.
Hang on, I'm going to have one of them donuts.
They're amazing. So, what we also don't have and what we also don't see is when you have people turning on what they wanted and what they said, and now are doing a 180, there is no, well, this is what you asked for. We don't see that. So one of the things that, oh, look at that. Go for it. You're going for it. Yeah, you're going for it. So I'll give you an example of, to maybe clarify what I'm saying here. The howler head is unbelievable.
A little coffee in it. Just a little whisper.
So, University of Chicago. Students there last year protesting for weeks, if not longer, blocking traffic, blocking the road, causing a complete and utter disturbance in the city of Chicago, to defund the police, disband the police, and all that other stuff. University of Chicago. Okay? And we saw that in a lot of cities.
I know where this is going.
Okay. So, now, crime has gotten so bad. In the last year, 3 University of Chicago students have been murdered. And crime is so bad that those same students have now demanded that the university provide them safe passage in the form of free Lyft, Uber, and other transportation sources. The students are demanding that they are given free, safe transportation to and from class and around campus, because it is so dangerous and kids are getting shot going to and from class that they're demanding safe passage and protective transport. Now,
it's amazing.
That is amazing. But what's even more amazing is what?
Safe passage.
They're looking for safe passage because there's bullets flying. Now, my friend, I'm not going to give his name, my friend is friends with the family of one of the kids who got shot. He was on the train. He got shot in the neck by a stray bullet.
Yeah.
Right? He got shot in the, he knows that family personally. And I was heartbroken when he told me the story.
Terrible.
Terrible. Imagine your son is going to school and he's just riding the train back from work from his internship, and a bullet comes through the glass, hits him in the neck.
Right in the L.
He's dead on the L. So the same students who were demanding defunding and disbanding the police are now demanding safe passage and protective services to help them get to and from class. What we would never see is what? We would never see the college, the university, or any kind of official say, whoa, 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 whoa. This is what you asked for.
Right.
This is what you asked for. No, you're not getting free Lyft and Uber rides. You're not getting any of that. You asked for less police. You asked for disbanding and defunding the police. And what we have is a result of that. You now must accept that. And good luck on your way not getting shot on the way to chemistry.
The problem is perfect as these governments are in some ways, they don't account for common sense. You can pretty much vote on anything, okay? There's good and bad with that. When you get a generation or generations, and I think a lot of this, I've said this many times on air, I think a lot of this has to do with the baby boomer generation. I think they've held to power for way too long. They've clutched to power for so long that we're witnessing a jumping of generations in many ways. Yeah. All these guys that are over 60 that are in charge of a lot of these entities, a lot of the ones I talk about, including the government, they have clutched to power longer than any other group. And a lot of it maybe had to do with their parents not hugging them enough. They never fought in a world war. They're just kind of like these weird, bitter creatures that like move around almost like lizards, subterranean lizard people or something. And they really have a problem with relinquishing power. We've seen it. And what's happening is that the next generation's getting their shot little by little, and we're seeing this in the form of AOC. We're seeing this in the form of a lot of these people that are rising to power, and some of them are so far to the other side because of having to wait their turn so long that there's almost this weird bitterness. It's just a theory I have and what I kind of see out there, but it's terrifying.
When you look at what's really terrifying is that people are not finding it terrifying. They're just accepting
there's an unwillingness to put things in a box.
Right.
I've said that many times.
When you look at the fact, and this is a true story, y'all can go look this up. Go on the interwebs, you'll see it. The people who are screaming that the billionaires need to be taxed higher to pay for everyone else. And the billionaires this, and the billionaires this, and the
You're referring to the tweet between Bernie and Elon
Musk, right? So,
which I posted.
So there is that element and group of people who support taxing the uber rich and using those tax dollars to like pay for free stuff for everyone else. Essentially, that's essentially.
Well, what they try to do to everybody listening is they try to take these coffee table issues like taxes, okay, or little things like that, and they try to attach them to a group that's not going to necessarily fight it per se.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say like guns are bad. When you attach it to the Second Amendment and everything else, you're going to get pushback. And when you attach it to gun owners, but like, you know, can guns be used in a good way? Yes. But are people even willing to engage in that dialogue to hear the response? No.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just get these people that just scream and turn red.
But now, the irony of that is there was a report that came there was a report that recently came out, and I wanna say who did it. Was it I don't know where it was, but anyway, it came out. The report came out it was a list of all the billionaires that received stimulus checks from the government. If you saw the net worth of the people on this list, some of them got 2 checks, John, and they're billionaires. 2 stimulus checks from the government. And of course, people are saying, how did this happen?
Right.
Well, it happened because, as you know, as a business owner, as I know, you can make yourself, through write-offs and different tax strategies, you can make it look like you earned nothing.
You don't take an income.
Right,
Let's put it that way.
So because of that, these people who reported hundreds of millions and are net worth are worth billions receive stimulus checks from the government, multiple stimulus checks. And the same people who are yelling, make the billionaires pay for it, make the billionaires pay for it, those same people have not said a single word about billionaires receiving stimulus checks while some mother in the middle of Oklahoma is still waiting for her first check. How is that okay? How is that even remotely okay? They have no problem with that. No one's saying a word about that. It's as if it doesn't matter. And everyone knows, oh, you want to raise taxes for the billionaires? Okay, what are they going to do? You know they're going to use every loophole possible to legally avoid tax. And this is the one thing I love.
And they're using, $5,000 an hour tax teams.
Right.
So,
and here's the one thing I love. Everyone talks about, want to see Donald Trump's tax returns. Everyone was talking about his tax returns. The bottom line is this. Was he in default with the IRS? Did he owe the IRS money? And the answer was no. Why did people want to see his tax returns? People wanted to see his tax returns to do what? To see what he made and to see how much in taxes he paid. My feeling is this. The IRS, which they're now quadrupling in size, so they can see anyone who spends more than $78 in a day, they can have their eye on it. The only thing during that whole time that I was concerned with was, did he evade paying taxes? Does he owe the government taxes? Does he owe taxes? Is he wanted by the IRS? Is he in default? If the answer is no, then what does his tax return even matter? What does it matter? The president now owns 4 multi-million-dollar mansion estates, and not a single person is asking how a guy who's never made more than $170,000 in a single year of his 50-year career in politics has 4 mansions and multi-million-dollar estates. No one wants to see his tax returns. Why is that? How is that okay? I'll tell you what. With Donald Trump, I said, I would like to I don't care about his tax returns. I want to know, does he owe the IRS money? Because if he owes the IRS money, that's tax evasion. But with Joe Biden, I want to know, where his money's coming. We all know where Donald Trump's money came from. Where did Joe Biden, how is this guy a mega millionaire?
Well, we know the answer to that.
We know the answer.
The big guy.
10%.
10% for the big guy.
10%.
The big guy.
Nobody cares. And to me, if you were so adamant about seeing Donald Trump's tax returns, which I supported, but you have not a care in the world about seeing Joe Biden's tax returns,
it's crazy.
Something mentally is wrong with you. Something is mentally off with you.
And to everybody listening, the reason I say it's crazy is because I respect that Joe Biden or any of these elected officials have made, what we consider reasonable salaries throughout their life. I'd like to know their investment strategy because I'd like to copy it.
I don't know how
I'd like to know that.
You've never made more than roughly $150,000 a year, but now you're worth tens of millions of dollars.
I'm just looking for tips.
Nancy Pelosi, how are you worth that?
She's a gozillionaire.
How are you worth that much money?
We gotta go to the fight soon.
Insider trading. I know.
Not now, but like soon.
Soon. But anyway, so these are when I see people, and I ask questions on both sides, and you know that. I don't let people on the right get off with stuff. I don't let people get, and that's what I always talk about when I do my, quasi podcast. I always say, let's keep it down the middle. Let's keep it down the middle. Let's, you question things about the right and you question things about the left. That's equity. If you only question things about the left or you only question things about the right, you're being an idiot and you're not being authentic. And it shows. It's clear as day.
But to answer your question, ultimately, how do you get these people back, right? Like, what's the cost? It's so hard because we do have some pretty good stuff on the books that accounts for some things, and sometimes the elastic does sling back. We saw it a little bit with Jussie Smollett.
Yeah.
So you see these people try to craft a narrative and it backfires, right? You see a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that Jesse's working again, and I'm not sure that, because he was using that to kind of springboard his career and add life to it and put a little juice in there so he makes some headlines.
Yeah.
It was a cheap way. In the old days, you'd hire a publicist. Now you got to go buy some lighter fluid and a noose or something.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine for a moment that a black man in this country that is supposedly so racist couldn't even wait for something racist to happen to him? He had to go fabricate it.
Listen, you bring up you bring up a great point. You're 100% right. And I'm actually mad you brought it up, because you're right. And you would hope that there would be some understanding of that, and the elastic would go, as I said, like the other way. But you just have this country that just, they want, if it bleeds, it leads. They want that juice. And you brought up a term earlier, social currency, and they're after, like, there was a movie that came out a long time ago. It's really, guys, if you get a chance, watch it. It's an interesting movie, but it's cool to show you how politics really works and the strategy. It's called The Contender. Jeff Bridges is in it, and Sam Neill, and it's a wonderful movie. Not anything you'd write home about, but it tells a story. And in the beginning, the person that's governor, that's trying to become vice president, crafts a narrative that he rescued a young woman from a car that was sinking, right? Kind of funny because of Chappaquiddick, right? So kind of funny. But unfortunately, the woman dies, and they find out about it in the movie. But this crafting of narrative, that movie probably came out in 96 or 97, and I'm guessing, so don't beat me up about it. But that crafting of the supreme narrative, that social currency, it's been around forever. And people try to gain it in different ways. I can only say this. You go through phases with media and reach and how people come at you, and just how that changes as you become, more known or, more notable. And some people want to cling to that at certain levels. Like, they can't lose it. It's like a lust for power, and they'll do anything to keep it. And if they're used to seeing their name in newspapers, they want to see themselves in more newspapers. If they're used to seeing themselves, and they can't satisfy it, it's like, I need more likes. I need more subscribers. And what happens is they lose sight of what they have that's so good. They lose sight of the like, if I wasn't talking to my subscribers or the people in the chat right now, what am I doing this for? Like, speak to, be happy. Jussie Smollett had a fine career.
Yeah.
He was working.
Right.
These guys, and there's this move for social currency where they're going to say, I heard this, or I think that, or they're going to say something. I'm okay with that. You want to take a ding, take a ding. But when you start going out and hiring thugs and buying supplies, you know what I'm saying? When you're saying, I don't want to say anything, because I don't want to call. I'm not calling anybody out in particular, and I know you're not either. But like, I've dealt with people that literally accuse me of criminal things you'd be doing time for.
Solely for the base of social currency.
Solely for the base of social currency. Right. And the fact that there is no reprisal and there is no penalty per se. There is, but the road and what that looks like, and it's a hard thing.
Well, let me ask you this. What happened to Jussie Smollett? Did he go to jail?
I don't believe he went to jail, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Does anyone know?
I don't believe he did time. I think he was something. He got some type of community service, something out of it.
I don't know.
But
I'm willing to guess.
But that was back page stuff. I get what you're saying.
No one cares. He didn't go to jail. I'm willing to guess he didn't go to jail. Okay, he made a national spectacle off of a lie. Now, let me ask you this: you remember the Arizona State University incident? Right? I spoke about it. These girls who claim that this Arizona State University is so racist, yet the only thing they could find on that entire campus with tens of thousands of students, the only racist thing they could find in their months and months and months of travels was a Police Lives Matter sticker on a laptop of a kid who was sitting there minding his own business. How pathetic is that? To me, I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it's a wonderful thing, not the sticker, but what I think is, how amazing is that? That these girls attending Arizona State University who were looking for some sort of racial injustice, the only thing they could find on that entire campus was a sticker on a laptop. Man, that's amazing. It makes me feel good. I was thinking maybe they find a Confederate flag, or maybe they find like a secret KKK meeting or some shit, and like something. No, they didn't find anything. They found a sticker on a kid's laptop who was quietly doing homework in the library.
Get him.
And that's it. That's where we're at. That there's so little actually going on.
It's no crisis wasted.
You got to go make stuff up.
To clarify the Jussie Smollett thing, I know, and Marcy just chimed in with it. No jail time. It was a fine. He was charged with 4 counts in 2019. I don't know what's come of that, Marcy, or that's where the fine came from, but that's the clarification. So no jail time.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Of course no jail time. There's no jail time. A person, male, female, in the case we're talking about a female, can make a criminal, felonious accusation about someone, and it can be found to be completely untrue, and there's no ramification for it. There's no recourse. There's nothing. The damage is already done.
Well, the
damage is done. That person's career is already damaged.
Yeah.
And there's no recourse. You can't go after that person.
The one that was a bit disgusting, and look, we get it. Politics gets charged. The Kathy Griffin one comes to mind, okay? When she beheaded Trump in that situation.
Yeah.
30 years ago, that was considered, oh my God, like you don't do that, okay? Now, I get it. Times are changing. The gloves are coming off. Right. I understand that. I thought that was a bad move on her part, and I think that's a bad move for anyone to do. And, we talked a little bit about this the other day. You got to at least respect the office if you don't respect the person. I mean, you would never see stuff like that. It was a bit much. And I think it was the manner in which it was done. And I think, like I said, I try not to lose sight of the fact that people may say or do things off the cuff, and they may feel a certain way about somebody, whatever that reason is. And we all know certain things become like a game of telephone, and people just have to be very careful. And when you put it into print, to me, when it starts to go into print,
right,
and you start to publish it, you're responsible for that. It goes both ways. You can't just acquiesce and say, I didn't mean that. If you say, I specifically think this, but people change, times change, things change. And the accountability strain is what's troubling to me. And I think you have to have accountability across the board, but at the same time, you also have to take time. And that's where I keep coming back to the word grace. There's just not a lot of grace in things.
But we've seen some disgusting acts.
Mm-hmm.
The Jussie Smollett thing was disgusting.
That was gross.
Here's another disgusting thing.
And he should be scrubbing toilets for it at least.
And I don't know if you heard this, but the Virginia governor's campaign was a tight race, right? And we all know that the Republican candidate won, right? And he beat out the longtime Democratic candidate. Fine. But a little known story that many people didn't hear. It was a big deal when it happened.
Right.
But when it was found to be untrue, there was nothing done or said about it. The guy who won in Virginia, his name?
Youngkin.
So Youngkin was at a rally, and he was speaking to his constituents, and literally a KKK group showed up in support of Youngkin and were videotaped by the news media outlets there, And what was the report? KKK supporting Youngkin at his rally. And it was a big deal. And it was bad. It was bad. Well, thank God. I don't know if you heard what happened. The Lincoln Project was behind the people who were there as a quote-unquote KKK members. So the Lincoln Project, in an attempt to besmirch Youngkin,
it's amazing.
I guess they paid people.
Paid actors.
They paid actors.
Well, you heard with Kamala Harris, that whole thing with the kids. They were paid actors.
But this is crazy. They paid people to dress up and act like KKK members and go to his rally to pretend that they were supporting him. And they were paid for by the Lincoln Project.
It's crazy.
A Democratic organization.
It's crazy.
And you're saying to yourself, okay, that was screwed up.
Yeah.
And then the guy who represents the Lincoln Project was on a news network, it's on YouTube, and they said, well, so you were behind that stunt at the Youngkin rally.
Right.
And what did he say? He said, well, this is politics. We got to do what we got to do. It's a tight race. That was his response. Mm-hmm. And there is no recourse. Mm-hmm. They are not in trouble. Nothing's going to happen to them. They literally had actors act like KKK members and go to...
They're better off hiring actors because then they can say we were just acting.
It is...
See where that goes?
Right. It's absolutely mental. Nothing happened to them.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to them. So how disgusting do you have to be where you are an organization that is anti-Republican, and because there's really nothing racist going on, you have to pay actors to go act like KKK members that are supporting a Republican candidate?
Oh, it's crazy.
It's insanity.
It's crazy.
But what's even more insane is that there's no recourse. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can go after them for. They won't get in trouble. It's not. No one even knows about it. I bet half the people here don't even know that happened. Half the people, 99% of the people watching, don't even know that happened.
And nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. It's absolutely disgusting. It's disgraceful. And you have, and talk about what was said and what was not said. You look at these protests against black men getting shot by the police. It happens a handful of times a year. In some cases, it's unjustified, and we understand that needs to stop. That is not okay. But imagine, we're talking about the Kenosha, and they've got the National Guard for riots. And they got the National Guard on standby for riots for a white man killing white men, which is the craziest thing possible. But can you imagine if people, white and black, because we know a lot of these rallies and a lot of these BLM protests were full of white people. Can you imagine if all these people, white and black, every time a young black man didn't graduate high school, went and protested at the next PTA meeting, the next Board of Education meeting, saying it was unacceptable, and just like they call for the police chief's job and everything else, or they'll call for the college president's job. Can you imagine if they said, solid move, if they said every time a young black man didn't graduate college, they went to the meeting, they protested, they burned shit down, they broke shit, they looted, and they said, this is unacceptable to us for this young black man not to graduate high school. Somebody failed him. Superintendent, you need to go. Principal, you need to go. Board of Education, all of you need to go, because this is not okay. Everyone needs to go. Can you imagine that? No, it would be crazy. No, but what happens is the young black man doesn't graduate high school.
Yeah.
And falls into a life of crime, and then at one point runs into the police. And then there's an encounter there, and he maybe fights with the police, or there's not listening to instructions or whatever, resisting arrest, who knows? And ends up getting shot or injured. And everyone's like, "Oh! What the hell? What about what happens before, as you know, left of the bang? What about protests for kids not graduating high school? What would happen? No, we'll never see a protest in the black community for when a black man or a black woman doesn't graduate high school. We'll never see a protest for that. We'll only see the protest when there's an involvement with the police, and everyone's like, "How did this is unacceptable." No one asked, "What was your 13-year-old doing out at 2 a.m. with a gun?" No one ever asked that question.
You're not wrong.
I'd like to see some protests, not burning, looting, and destruction, but I'd like to see some emotionally charged protests for when young men and women of color don't graduate high school. Can you imagine how our country would be? Do you think teachers would change? Do you think the education system would change? I think so. But why don't we see it? We don't see it. No. We just accept the outcome. A little 7-year-old girl gets shot in the back of her car while her dad's taking her McDonald's by a stray bullet. And everyone's like, "Oh, this sucks. She was a good kid. She was a sweet little..." And no, it's acceptable. No big deal.
Well,
that's where we need to see change. That's where we need to say, this is not acceptable. Yeah, we saw George Floyd. Unacceptable. But for every George Floyd, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of young black men are there not graduating high school that are potentially on the path to becoming that long criminal record that everyone talks about with George Floyd that obviously has nothing to do with his death, but are on that path to an encounter with the police?
I just think perspective and grace are our paths back, and understanding the person you were 10 years ago maybe isn't the person you are now. Understanding certain things need to be put in a box, condemned, and left there to die, and certain things do not. Certain things can be open to interpretation. It's okay to question things. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to develop a belief system. It's okay to wake up every day and feel like you should have a say in how you live your life. Those are all good things. And those are all what we all believe we're protecting and should happen. With that being said, creating a consequence for those that threaten those things in our life, it's hard. And I think that it should exist. I think it needs to exist. How you have both is the real question. How you have grace and have the ability. But I agree with you. When it starts stemming into criminal behavior, okay? And I realize what I said there, stemming into.
Yeah.
Okay? Saying things is a gateway drug. Saying, there's some things you just never said about people. And it's not okay. It's not okay to call someone a pedophile and they're not.
Yeah,
right, like that's
exactly.
not okay.
Right.
For the record, yeah, that's not one that I'm familiar with. But you hear these things and people put them out there and they have to be sacred. There has to be some sacredness.
Like, I know there's a line.
We really got to get going.
I know there's a line. I know. Not that we have a time, but I know there's a line in most like political situations where your opponent's wife and kids are off limits. Like you never like go after their children, especially if they're little children. I mean, if your child is a drug addict and selling $500,000 pieces of art and has money coming in from foreign governments, then maybe that is questionable. But for the most part, kids are off limits. And
yeah.
I accept that. Kids and family are off limits, especially little children. I get that. That's understood. I think that needs to become...
It's usually a gentleman's agreement amongst men.
Gentleman's agreement. I think that also needs to play into general society. There has to be this gentleman's or ladies' agreement where we don't speak about other people like in the what
it's not just okay
what you've experienced and what I experienced in a small way of making felonious crazy statements that allude to criminal activity, and it's just fundamentally untrue. You're just using it for social currency. There has to be some sort of social
policing of
that, where people just say, listen, this is one thing we just don't do.
Yeah.
We just don't do this. We can say X, Y, and Z, but we don't cross the line and say this.
Right.
That's the line that we just, as a society, we know we don't cross. Because if
like I said, it takes strong leadership, and coming back to even our industry, you have to, again, it comes back to who you support, what you put your weight behind, what you honor. You would hope a lot of people would take that very seriously and how they view and interpret what that person says.
Yeah.
If you follow me. Mm-hmm. And it should be held to that standard. If someone's honest and you don't like it, that's different. And like I've said, I've lived that way. I've been honest, and a lot of people haven't liked it. There's good and bad with that, guys.
Not agreeing with
not
agreeing with the facts and things. But the question that most people don't ask in these situations when something is thrown out there, going back to that, is simple. It's the simplest question you can ask, and most people don't say it. And I say it all the time, even to like social media. Social media trolls, you say, how do you know? And you're 9 out of 10 times you're going to say, I heard.
From so-and-so.
How do they know?
They heard.
Yeah. How do they know?
It's a lot of that.
Right? So
a lot of that.
One simple question, and this is, I tell people who are dealing with people on social media or in life, if someone comes up to you and makes a claim about someone else or themselves or you or whatever, like I said, social media or in real life, just say, how do you know? This guy is this. How do you know?
Yeah.
Donald Trump's a racist. How do you know? How do you know? John Bartolo is this. How do you know? And that's when it all starts falling apart.
Yeah.
That one simple question of, how do you know? How do you know? And you start asking that question to people, and you're going to start seeing people just fall apart and wither away.
Yeah, the social currency piece is dangerous. People that do say that you've seen it in smaller circles. People say they know me, and I'm like, who knows me? I'm like, what? Yeah. Like who? I'm like, so it's. I find it really interesting. We gotta go. We gotta go. We got to shut it down. So listen, everybody, I want to thank all the sponsors: Gallotech, Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, Inforce Weapon Lights, Galco Leather Holsters, Volquartsen Firearms, Right On Optics, Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology, Kenzie's Optics. Go check out all the sponsors. I appreciate all of them. Guys, leave a review. It helps. Leave a review, share. We're entering a quiet period. Go check out all that stuff. I don't want to rush Suresh off. Go check out 221B Tactical. Go check out all Suresh's pages. A lot of good information, a lot of stuff.
We got a fight to get to.
But we got to go. I appreciate all you guys. We're going to sign out.